OpenDrive's a data storage company that was birthed out of Hollywood and created a platform for content creators to collaborate.
Now, tell me a little bit more about the solutions that OpenDrives solves.
We appear as a data storage company, but we've always been highly consultative in how it is that we approach problem solving, as we're really a workflow enablement company.
First of all, AI. I'm sure it's a key aspect of whatever you're doing moving forward.
Because the data is just, ones and zeros or words or images. What our customers are looking for is they're looking for information.
Mm-hmm.
What information do I have which turns into revenue? And I think that's where the magic of AI really is.
Hello and welcome back to the Interior Public Podcast. This is a show where we talk about business, leadership, and influence in the modern work world. Today, I am joined by Sean Lee. He's the CEO of OpenDrives. Sean, thank you so much for being here. Why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself? Tell us a little bit more about yourself and OpenDrives.
Thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure to be here. I'm Sean Lee, CEO at OpenDrives, and OpenDrive's a data storage company that was birthed out of Hollywood and created a platform for content creators to collaborate and create real-time media files. So editing, coloring and finishing, visual effects. We provide the platform where all that media lives. A little history about myself. I've been in the media entertainment industry my entire career, building infrastructures and pipelines for filmmaking. Joined OpenDrives about 10 years ago after having been a customer. And I tell you a bit of that story because that's the DNA of our company, is we're all Hollywood people, filmmakers, technologists, and we've come together to deliver a solution that really the industry needs in high performance workflows.
Awesome. I love that. I love that the solution for what you build kind of came from the ground up, and that I'm sure that informs the ethos of how you guys carry forward and how you work with your clients and how you think about your the solutions that you're providing to your clients.
Absolutely. We're 100% customer-led roadmap in our technology development. So we don't have an R&D team that sits around looking at what our competitors are doing or figuring out what the latest, greatest new tech is. We really consultatively meet with our customers on a regular basis and try to understand their needs and drive our roadmap through that feedback.
Awesome. Awesome. I love that. Now, tell me a little bit more about the solutions that OpenDrives solves and where it's been and where you guys are headed.
Thanks so much. So, like I said, we built this high performance scale up NAS platform. Your viewing audience may have seen a show on HBO called Silicon Valley. And if you have, then we're Pied Piper. We don't have a compression algorithm. We have a caching and acceleration algorithm, which enables our end users to have this really seamless, interactive, real-time experience so that they can stay in the creative flow. So we built that product, lived as an appliance for many years. And a few years ago, we converted over to becoming a software-defined storage company. So we're agnostic to the hardware it is that we deploy on. And then I'm really excited to be able to share, we announced this at NAB in April, where we were coming out with something new. And it's really exciting for me and for us because it really shows the new product that we have, shows our true DNA as a company. We appear as a data storage company, but we've always been highly consultative in how it is that we approach problem solving, as we're really a workflow enablement company. And so even though we sold the data storage product, we would consult with our customers on what are you trying to do in your workflow? And we would say, hey, your networking needs to be at this level. Your protocols need to have this configuration. Your applications need to be at this version. And we consulted all the way down to the end user's workstation. And that was really important because what we realized was we're one piece to a large puzzle, and that having a really good experience requires end to end. And so our new platform called Astraeus that we're having a launch in this next quarter in October, it allows customers, it's a data services platform that brings applications and data closer together, and we'll be able to manage and orchestrate compute, networking, GPU, CPUs, and automate these workflows to give customers a cloud-like flexible experience with that cloud-like resiliency, but for them to be able to deploy those infrastructures and those workflows on-prem and have that on-prem price predictability and performance metric.
Tell me a little bit more about the culture of OpenDrives.
Yes, culture is hyper important to any organization, ours and others. The culture is different at many different companies to achieve the goals it is that they're looking for. At OpenDrives, we've always taken a very people-first approach to everything it is that we do. So whether it's talent acquisition and the staff it is that we have that enables us to build the amazing products that we build, to our engagements with alliance partners. So, we may work with other companies like Adobe or Blackmagic or networking companies. That collaboration is still people first, down to our end user, our customers. Those are people. That it's not businesses interacting with businesses, or it's not a title interacting with another title, that it's always about people. And those people are more than just what they do, that we are all individuals that have stories. We have worries and concerns and insecurities, and we all come from a very unique experience. And so that culture at our company, at Open Drives, we're open and empathetic and nimble and effective. We have these values and virtues that really take the forefront and really enable us to do the things it is that we do. In a company that is not a huge enterprise organization, we must collaborate really closely. And we must work together, typically under resource constraint all the time. And so what we need to be able to do is listen to people and be empathetic and work together to do more with less and to be more effective as we move forward and grow the company.
I love that. I'm sure that really is impactful with how your clients feel about like what it is to work with you. Tell me some more about like what's going on right now. You guys are looking towards this new launch in October. That has to be really exciting. What are the exciting aspects of that? What are some of the challenges that you're feeling right now?
Yeah. So like I just said, resource constrained is like probably one of the biggest challenges. We're trying to do something huge. We talk with our board, we talk with the investors, we talk with industry analysts and existing customers and prospects. And they say, wow, like what you are doing seems immense. It seems so big. There's many companies that are addressing maybe a sliver or a portion of what you guys are trying to build, but you guys are doing something really big. So that I would say is really the biggest challenge, is trying to deliver this on time and being resource constrained. The second thing is we're an engineering company and we can do anything. And another big challenge is being able to stay focused, right? So we have an interesting approach with our new product. Is we're currently adopting what we call lighthouse customers to come adopt this product. And we've built a product that is extremely powerful, that can do 100 different things. And we're working with them very closely to understand what it will do best, how our customers are going to use it. And we've built it modularly and flexibly, to have it be very flexible in the workflows that it can address. And then we will continue to refine with the input of our customers on what it will ultimately be probably in 2020 to get that feedback. So I think that is a huge challenge too, is you have to come to market with a product. You have to keep it flexible enough so that you can adapt it to the workflows and the customer's needs as you continue to refine and generate revenue.
That's a lot. Do you feel like it's almost like wider and vaster than it probably will be down the line, but you're just sort of like the lighthouse customers are helping you refine like what are the tools or what are the aspects that are really what people need? Am I understanding that correctly?
100%, because we don't want to make any assumptions that we know, what the answer is or what people need. We don't want to tell them. We want them to tell us. So we've presented it in a way in these early adopters. It can do all these things and pose the what if question, What if it could do this? What would you do with it this way? And be collaborative, with them and work together. That goes back to our people first approach and getting feedback. We don't have all the answers. We're all better together in getting feedback and information and input to be able to develop products that our customers need. So challenging, especially as also like we're transforming as a company. We've done the data storage, data management portion for such a long time, and it feels very refreshing to be able to do this new thing. But it's very greenfield. Like as we've been working on this product for 2 years now, and we did blue sky ideation sessions and, at least established a direction that we wanted to build in and what the industry needed based on the feedback from our existing customers. And we built that framework and we continue to refine it. So just because you can do things doesn't mean you should do things. And it's really fun to go explore those things, but that takes resource. And so you got to stay focused. The team that we have is such like an amazing team, and leadership typically gets a lot of focus and attention, right? We're on these podcasts, we're spokespeople for the company, but it's not about me and it's not about Trevor and what it is that we do. It's really about the team members that are building the products and supporting our customers that really deserve all the credit, that we are just spokespeople, on behalf of the company for those individuals that are really putting their blood, sweat, and tears into their work every day to develop the products that our customers love.
It's pretty cool that value is so baked into the culture of your organization that's like what you guys are consistently saying this day and age, with all of the noise that AI is bringing, with all of the like bells and whistles and fancy things that are coming to market, and all of the solutions and this like how things are scaling. Talk a little bit about that, because I'm sure, well, first of all, AI and how that wave has hit you in your industry, how you guys have implemented it. I'm sure it's a key aspect of whatever you're doing moving forward. Talk a little bit about that, if you would, first.
Yeah, I think that things are moving so quickly and have for, probably the past decade, and just keeps getting faster and faster and faster. And AI is like an accelerator on that. And so I'll talk about AI in two different aspects. One is how we are using it as a company for internal efficiencies, and then how our products may or may not have AI in them in the future. Because just like a few years ago, it was the cloud. You need to slap the word cloud on whatever it is that you did, and and now it's AI, right? Slap AI on whatever it is that you're doing and make sure that's in your marketing and your messaging. Both when the cloud wave hit and now with the AI wave, us as a company have been, I don't know, steadfast or grounded in not chasing things like the cloud or chasing AI because everybody else is doing it. Our lead VC I said to us before, you kind of want to run to the place where people are running away from, So take pause, look, and then make a decision before you act. And so fortunately for us, we do have a cloud product. We were very slow to move there. We had a customer actually come to us, a large enterprise customer that said, hey, you've done amazing things for us on-prem. Can you take us to the cloud? And we developed our cloud product in conjunction with them versus hey, let's go out and build this thing and then they will come. We're doing a very similar thing with AI, where we've built this new platform that brings applications and data closer together. And we're doing this to enable some of the things I said earlier, which was increased efficiency and orchestration to give you that nimbleness of a cloud-like experience with on-prem price predictability. But more importantly, it is there to eliminate data silos. And data and workflows kind of go hand in hand, meaning a workflow is typically dependent on a data set. And so what we did traditionally was build these monolithic infrastructures to address a specific workflow. And then you would then build something for something else. And so we are attempting here to eliminate data silos and eliminate workflow bottlenecks with this new platform. Now, when you eliminate data silos, you actually introduce another problem, which is like you don't have a filing cabinet to go look in that filing cabinet for the data it is that you're wanting to find. If you have access to all the data because you've eliminated the data silos, how do you find what you're looking for? And what we've discovered through working with our customers is it's no longer about the files or the data, because the data is just, ones and zeros or words or images. What our customers are looking for is they're looking for information. What information do I have with all the data and files that I own? And how do I generate as a company more IP, which turns into revenue, from the data and the files that I have? And I think that's where the magic of AI really is. You and I probably use AI on a regular basis. And so where AI is moving the mundane tasks down, that we don't need to know maybe where the source material is, or what we're trying to arrive at with AI is a faster outcome. What is the information? How do I separate the signal from the noise in a faster way than before versus digging around through thousands and thousands and thousands of files or clips in our industry to find the exact clip that I'm looking for, that I can do a query and say, hey, show me all the scenes where, Brad Pitt is holding a gun standing in front of an explosion, and it will bring that to you versus I got to go watch hours and hours and hours of video to find that. Yeah.
Wow.
So I talked a little bit about AI and how we see for our industry, how it's going to be utilized, and a bit about, how we're using it internally, really to take over the mundane and accelerate time to value.
Thank you so much for that. And it feels to me that once again, the groundedness you have as an organization on the value of solving problems and relationship forward and humanity is like serving your approach to how, like the measured approach to AI, and not just, like you say, chasing it or being kind of running after the trend of it and getting out in front of it in a way that's a little less, that like loses something. And it feels like a very important thing right now that we're all contending with these things. And what's the value in the middle of all of this that's going to keep me tethered to something real rather than getting lost in the glamour of sort of bubble.
Yeah, that wave, right? I think maybe as a parent, I may have like, and many parents, in that are viewing and listening right now may relate to this, is what we know is AI isn't going away, just like the internet didn't go away. And we as parents are thinking about the impact it's going to have on our children. And so it's a very similar kind of thing, is that you can't just like adopt it just because it's there and it's not going away. We're not saying don't use it. We're saying use it mindfully, use it effectively. Listen to this awesome podcast the other day on Diary of a CEO, where he had interviewed two neuroscientists that really talked about measuring brain scans and brain waves as people were using AI, and noticing that brain activity was much reduced when using AI. So you have to know how to use AI in the right way, that you're not saying, hey, AI, do this thing for me, and then taking it and then just, being a relay. You have to work with it like a peer, saying, give me this information. Why did you give me this information? What if we looked at the information this way? What could I do this? And collaborate with it and do the work. That is really, really important, that we have to look at it, AI as being a tool and not a solution.
Yeah, that's
not going to solve all
exactly
the problems.
Right. And I think that what you just said right there is really key. It's a tool. And to the point of, it's always interesting to see these things through the frame of our children, because this is the world they're inheriting. And it's kind of wild, because we can already, just a couple years in, we can already feel that. And so how do we raise our children in that? How do we utilize these tools but to kind of stay rooted?
Yeah, we have a saying in my family that everything comes at a cost. You're going to pay one way or another. How are you going to pay? So, for example, at home, are you going to pay at the grocery store, or are you going to pay at the hospital? Right? It's going to come at a cost, right? Like if you shortcut things, it's going to come at a cost. I look at kids in my neighborhood. I've seen a proliferation of e-bikes. Why are kids riding e-bikes? They should be using their legs. And I listened to a Huberman podcast yesterday that talked about like computers and the internet and VR, and how these experiences that kids are having and people are having are not real. And that when you are, a kid on a baseball field in a little league game, there are so many things in real life that are maybe intangible, like that if you're standing up to bat, that you can recognize if the pitcher is throwing a curveball, right? These are sensory perception things it is that we have in the real world, that with the advent of more and more technology, we're losing. The ways that our brain is wired to interact is being challenged, because we're not getting the same input that we've had for millennia. And I think that in these early days of AI, we have to be really, really careful about the effect it is that it's having on us, on our children, on our companies and colleagues and friends, that we're really educating ourselves in the proper way to leverage and use these things, because it will come at a price.
I think that's beautifully said, and so important, and completely, yeah, and really important. And to me, like, I always hold that, like, the importance of the physical body, like when we can embody our work, our values, our, the things we stand for in our families, and like come back to the physical body and the embodiment of those things, that keeps us grounded in this world, and like getting outside and being in nature. And I keep saying that over and over again, like the more we're getting on this train with AI, I'm just like, everybody needs to go outside. Everybody needs to go camping. Everybody needs to go roll in the mud a little bit, because that we have to counterbalance all of this. Absolutely.
I couldn't agree more. I live in the West and originally from Vancouver Island. So being outdoors is a major thing.
Thank you so much. This has been such a wonderful conversation. Is there anything else you want to share with us about Open Drives, about your views on leadership or AI?
Yeah. So to your audience, would love to meet you if anything it is that we said, resonated with you. So you can check us out at our website at opendrives.com. LinkedIn is a great place. So, follow the company on LinkedIn. You'll see the events that we're going to be at and our new announcements. And like I said, Astraeus is coming out in October. We're having a big launch party in Los Angeles. I'm actually headed off to IBC in a couple of weeks in Amsterdam. So if you happen to be out there, please reach out, but would love to meet and see and learn more about you, and you can learn about us.
Thank you all to all of you watching, and we'll see you next time on The Interior Public.